If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is VSiN By The Books on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We begin hour number 3, VSiN By The Books. I'm Dave Ross here at Circus Sports, fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. Our closer, J. Jensen Lewis, back home in Cleveland, Ohio. We're going back to Chicago. Always love catching up with Colby Marchio. Does a great job as a betting analyst for Betting News. Give him a follow on X, as I just did, at Colby M. Bets. And, Jensen, I think you said best moss in the business for Colby. It really is. It really is good.
That's pretty pro.
Yeah.
It's pretty pro.
It's pretty solid, Colby.
That's too kind. That's too kind. Come on. There's no reason to lie to me at 8 Central in the morning. I just got up, fellas. I don't need to be lied to. There's better hair out there. I promise. Maybe not a better mustache, but I'll take that. You can say that about the mustache all you want. I take too much pride into that thing.
It's pretty good 1-2 combo you got going there, Colby. Let's get to some of the player props that you like out there. And by the way, because Jensen, also, you guys are all over these with the total base props. What gets you there, Colby? What are you looking for before you make these selections?
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot that goes into it. The first one, I mean, it's probably going to be the first one I give out in a couple seconds, is probably the one I'm most disgusted about. We'll get into that in a sec. But I have to like the matchup. I have to like how well they do against the pitcher's repertoire. It's got to be a lot of things. If they're hot, I'm usually turned off. If they hit 2 home runs the day before, I'm turned off. It's a lot. So I'm super picky, and then I go back and forth with my process all the time. I'm like, well, maybe today will be different. And then you usually go into a cold streak because you're not going back to what you know. It's a lot. It's a long season. It's a roller coaster. And it's honestly my favorite part of the day. The morning, like as soon as the bets are over with, I'm like, all right, what am I going to win tomorrow? What am I going to lose tomorrow? Because I already got everything locked in. It's my favorite part of the day. And if you don't like doing it, you probably shouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now.
Colby, it's a great point. For our show, I usually go through the day before, and I always look at the probable starting pitchers for the next day. And I was telling Dave, in years past, this used to be an auto bet day when Patrick Corbin was on the hill. But now all of a sudden, he has turned the clock back to when he and I were teammates many moons ago in Arizona, and he was one of the young and up-and-coming phenoms here. Now, the stuff isn't what it was from a velo standpoint, but he's missing a lot of barrels. You and I, though, I think are on the same page, targeting a handful of Yankee bats. I like Bellinger and LeMahieu here from a total base perspective. You're targeting the big dog and Aaron Judge. What do you like about the matchup?
Patrick Corbin Day. People still think it's the same as it was 2 years ago, but you got to look at the numbers. He's being extremely serviceable, and that might be the nicest thing you can say about Patrick Corbin, but I love Aaron Judge today. I hated that I paid the $130 price for the bases, but I screwed myself on Sunday taking just Judge's home run when I could have got the bases and lost the home run. But I do like Judge's home run today. We're running it back against him and a lefty. He's batting .464, 1809 OPS against lefties and only 28 at bats. So small sample size, but he's killing them. He's the number 1 rated hitter on batters-box.com in the Bronx. 90 elite home ratings, 71% hit rate, 36% two-hit rate, 58% over this base prop, and 35% of the time goes over his home run prop. Patrick Corbin has a poor average hitter matchup, WOBA, ISO, and K percentage. On the run as a sub-4 ERA. 3 of his 5 pitches are below league average, and it's Aaron Judge. He's obviously murdering every single one of those pitches. I think it's worth paying the $1.30, and I usually don't enjoy paying $1.30 or anything above minus 120 on base prop, but you're not going to get anything really better than that for Aaron Judge.
Colby, you mentioned just waking up there in Chicago. Are they still kind of going, what in the hell just happened yesterday in the 9th inning against the Fighting Fish down there in Miami from the north side? And you're going to go back to the well, but maybe not in the Cubs lineup, but look to the middle of the Marlins lineup there?
Yeah, this was the play I was referring to a couple minutes ago about grossness. Kyle Stowers is on a 7-game hit streak. That's the worst thing about this prop, why I'm taking it. This is the biggest turnoff, but I'm still going to ride it. The base prop at 1.5 is plus 145. The home run is at 525. He's batting 303 with a 940 OPS this season, has the 4th highest rating in this matchup by batters-box.com. Doesn't have a big sample size with elite trends, so I'm not even going to reference them because I think it's under 5. Jameson Taillon's on the bump, has a sub-6 road ERA, opponent batting average of 276. Poor average hitter matchup ISO. 4 of his 6 pitches are below league average. 2 of his plus value pitches are just 24% of his repertoire. And Stowers has fantastic numbers across the board against all those 6 pitches. So it was really hard for me to go, well, he has 7 hits in a row. Can he get 8? And I'm going to ride with the 8 because plus 150-ish is a fantastic price for a guy like Stowers.
I love it. One of the great nicknames in our game here, Colby, is the Big Dumpa from Cal Raleigh out in the Pacific and Northwest. Listen, anytime you get a guy that really not only embraces it, but then follows it up with some mammoth tanks when he hits some, you always love to get it. Great matchup here. Intriguing spot, especially with Seattle in your neck of the woods there in the Windy City. What do we like about this matchup in particular? And is it long ball central here, knowing what the conditions might be like?
As a big butt lover, I love the Big Dumper today. I think I actually really wanted his bobblehead. That was his butt. It was hilarious. The Seattle Mariners gave that out, the Big Dumper bobblehead. But I really like it, despite the weather being coldish and rainy and gross today. Cal Raleigh is fantastic on the road, batting 265 with a 1031 OPS and in 21 elite ratings on the road, 76% hit rate, 57% of the time goes over his bases, 38% of the time hits a home run on the road. These are just trends I can't pass up on. And then you got Bryce Wilson on the bump. A red flag about him. S in the name with Bryce. That's like having a K with Colby. That's just wrong. I'm talking to you, Colby Allard. Has the 3rd worst pitcher rating on the day, poor average hitter matchup ISO, hard contact, and ground ball percentage. We don't want ground balls. We want line drives, and Cal Raleigh hits nuke missiles. 4 of the 5 pitches of Wilson's repertoire are below league average. His sinker is his best pitch, which he throws the most. And Cal Raleigh's batting 368, 1478 OPS, a 314 WRC plus against that pitch. It's really hard for me to pass up just because the weather's met. They still got to play the game. There's still going to be runs. Somebody has to win based on a run. Unless it's a Pirates game where they win on a walk-off walk, I think Cal gets it done for us.
All right, Colby, you'll learn this about me. As a Metropolitan fan, I went to bed last night with the Rockies having a 3-1 lead over Philadelphia, so I knew my Mets had already lost to the Sox, so we can stay in first place. If the Rockies can hold on, they give up 4 in the 8th, 3 in the 9th, and the Phillies batter their way to a 9-3 win, so now they're in first place. Is that going to continue? Because it's still the Rocks. 8 wins they have? That's it. Is this a way to kind of play against them? Is it a play against Colorado for you or a play on Philadelphia?
Oh, it's a play on Philadelphia. Antonio Sanzatella is on the bump. We'll talk about him in a sec, but new prop that I bet yesterday for the first time and it cashed. So if you cash on your first time betting something, you're probably going to go back to it unless you lost and you're like, well, that prop's stupid. I'm never going to go back to that. But I really, really like the Phillies team total over 17.5 total bases at minus 110. We're getting meatballs for dinner, boys, because Antonio Sanzatella is on the bump. He is so bad. He is so bad. I'm not even going to talk about how bad he is. The people listening, the people watching, they can go online and look up how bad he is and get a good laugh at 8:08 Central right now. I would never mention that he has a 6.39 ERA, a sub-2 whip. I would never talk about how he shouldn't have a job. I would never talk about another man's job like that. At home has a 7.65 ERA. Why am I telling the people this? I said I wouldn't do it. The Phillies today have 6 elite rated hitters, 3 rated great on batters-box.com, 0 with above league K rate, 7 above league ground ball rate. I don't like that, but I can live with it because we got meatballs for dinner, boys. The Phillies are 9th in total bases per game, around 13.8. The Rockies are allowing 18 bases per game. That's what we want today, 18. And we got BP pitcher Meatball Antonio Sanzatella on the bump, and would never say anything bad about the guy because he is fantastic for my pockets.
Yeah.
Did I mention he's terrible?
To that. And
did I mention he's terrible?
Yeah, you did. This was like when people bet on Kevin Youkilis to get a hit off me when I was pitching because there's pretty much money in the bank. It's okay. If you bet on David Ortiz to get a hit off me, none ya. Thanks so much for donating. Appreciate that.
I'm sure
right,
you're
so
light years better than what he is right now if you went out there. Me and David look like him. Not you.
I don't want to pitch. I don't want to pitch ever in Coors Field. All right. What I do want to see though are maybe if you had to put a lotto ticket parlay together for let's go 2-leg or 3-leg. I'll give you the opportunity here. 2-leg or 3-leg home run parlay that maybe off the beaten path would be just there would be signs if we won this one.
I think it's not a bad look to go back to Shohei and pair it with Judge. They just have super high ratings on batters-box.com. The founder, developer, Michael Montgomery, always says if Shohei is above a 0.6, it's basically an automatic play. However, I don't like going back to guys that homered the day before, but it's Shohei. So is it really being like, oh, he's an average Joe? I don't know if he can do it again. No, he's one of the best hitters in baseball. You're not going to get a great price on pairing those two together. So maybe getting like a guy like Stowers wouldn't hurt, but trying to think of somebody else. I wouldn't, honestly, none of the player props in Colorado grab me because you're getting such a terrible price just because they're in Denver. So I usually stay away from player props. That's why I'm on the bases. But
Colby, I got one for you. Let me throw this out to you.
Yeah.
I got one. How about Adolis Garcia, Jake Berger, and Judge? We stay in Yankee Stadium and we get maybe
Will
some
Warren.
of the cheapies there.
Will Warren's on the bump. It's going to be terrible for all pitchers today.
Colby,
so I don't hate the over either.
All right, that's not a bad look there. Very quickly, my time there in Chicago, I went to many more games on the south side than I did on the north side. I know they only have 14 wins. I know they've lost 5 in a row. Is there any signs of optimism on the south side for the future of White Sox baseball?
Well, before I answer that, the only reason you're going to the south side is because you were craving some good lunch or good dinner, because that's the only reason anyone goes down there.
Bam.
Because the food's fantastic. Producer Brandon Velasquez definitely knows that as well. The food is just delectable there. But, I mean, I thought they were going to be a little bit better than they are now.
Okay.
At least they're not the Rockies. There's nothing really to get up out of your seat and go, let's go to the game, honey, unless it's dollar night.
But
it is still going to be bad.
Yeah, they're not the Rockies. That should be their slogan for the rest of the year, Colby.
That's a W. That's a W.
We're not the Rockies. Colby, appreciate the time. We're back in a moment.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
We are back, VSiN By The Books. Dave Ross, Jensen Lewis. Great conversation with Colby Marchio. A lot of fun with Colby talking some Major League Baseball. JVT is going to join us in the next segment. Cannot wait to get JVT's thoughts here as we get to the Final Four in the NBA. But Jensen, without further ado, I got to ask a very important question. Is this news or a whole lot of noise?
Is it news?
Corleone is a man who insists on hearing bad news immediately.
Or just noise?
Are you going to act like this is news? Just noise. This is noise.
Let's separate the impactful from the insignificant with one simple question. News or noise?
Jensen, you know I've been licking my chops all day to get to this subject. Couldn't wait to break it down with you here. And the question is a simple one. Now, Rory McIlroy, if you remember, spoke to the media Wednesday. So what is today? Today's Tuesday. Last Tuesday was a rain out. It was supposed to be his press conference day. He backed it up one day to Wednesday. He was very testy, if you remember, on that. We ran some sound from it a week ago. And then he goes out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Does not play very well. Does make the cut on the number, but never really a factor. And then the story had come out that he, among others, and Scotty Scheffler too, to be fair, their drivers had been pulled, and they only tested about a third of the field on the PGA Tour. And he was one of the ones that had a non-compliant driver. And that had to be changed. The head of it had to be changed before that first round. So news or noise? that had we all had access to that information, should have known that Rory was not a good bet for the PGA Championship because his poor driver was due to that failed driver test. Is that news or a big old excuse and a lot of noise?
I think the bigger news was that driver used to win the Masters.
Oh,
and I think that's where eventually he's going to have to talk to the media again. I think you had brought it up yesterday when we were talking that this should be question number 2 once we get an answer to was there a reason why we didn't have an explanation about this whole driver fiasco here at the PGA. That all being said, he's still 6-1 to win the Open, or the U.S. Open, I should say.
Yeah.
More importantly, the Open Championship, in which the scrutiny could be even more dominating if Scotty ends up winning the U.S. Open, because Rory right now 5-1 to win the Open. Scotty Scheffler plus 450, so they're about even together. I don't know, buddy. Juan Soto doesn't like talking to the media. Runs away from him. Rory McIlroy has run away from the media now multiple times. What are you hiding? What are you hiding here, man? Wouldn't it be easier just to come out and say, yeah, you know what? I had an issue with the driver. It was legal, but we had an issue with it, so I had to move on from it. Okay, done.
As they say in Usual Suspects, a rumor isn't a rumor if it doesn't die. Stop the rumor. Rory, you can stop all the rumors. All you have to do is talk. Just talk to the media. Scotty did it. As a matter of fact, I want you to hear from Scotty Scheffler. And here's what the amazing thing is about it. Because Scotty's was pulled as well for having a non-compliant driver. And he talked about it with the Wanamaker Trophy. After winning the PGA Championship, Scotty addressed the issue. Let's hear from world number 1.
I would argue that if we're going to test the drivers, we need to be even more robust in the way we test them. And that was a conversation I had with one of the rules officials I think if it's something that we're going to take seriously, I feel like we're almost going kind of halfway with it right now, where if we're going to test only a third of the field, I mean, if we're going to do it right, leave it up to us as players like the rest of the rules in the game of golf are. This is it's a newer rule that we haven't quite gotten right yet. And I think we have some stuff to figure out. And I think if we're going to do it, we might as well do it right and get even more robust, even more strict. And you can test guys every week if you want.
You can test guys every week if you want. This is a sport, and by the way, I love the sport. You know that, right? We call penalties on ourselves. Ball moved. You guys didn't sue it. It was oscillating, right? All these chaotic rules and these old rules in the game of golf. And we say, that's why we love golf, right? Because it's self-governing. We take care of it ourselves. We're above the board. And then you hear, man, we kind of like push the limit here with these drivers a little bit. So, again, I don't think there's really anything here. And I know that a lot of the media and the golf media want to say there is no there. But unless I think Scotty's spot on here. Let's just test every week, Jensen. Look, Major League Baseball, and this is why I wanted to have this conversation with you. We saw it famously just a couple years ago. Max Scherzer basically took down his pants, right, on the mound. Like, you guys want to test me? Fine, test me. And it was like a defiant Max, right, to show if you're going to test me as I'm walking off the mound to make sure I don't have sticky stuff and all this. You guys want to play these games, we'll do it. But I think Scotty's point is don't do it to a third of the field, right? Don't, because now it is a story. And it is a story. There's no denying that this is a story between the lines. These are fair conversations to ask. When did you have the driver? Was it compliant at Augusta when you won the green jacket? Scotty's saying for you, he alluded to it. He was playing with that driver for a year. He's won major championships in that year. So I think these are fair above-board questions. But like in the baseball parallel, if you will, what about this testing? Like, I always talk about with the UFC, Jensen, Dana White did not have to go to USADA testing. They don't have it anymore. But they went to USADA testing to try to clean up the sport because they knew they had a problem with performance enhancers. So this is equipment enhancers, if you will, in a different regard. So is this fair? Is this what we need in all sports? Let's just be above board and make sure everybody is playing by the same set of rules.
Yeah, I don't think that's illogical. I think it's pretty fair. If you want everyone held to the same standard, why wouldn't you test the equipment every single tournament? You have to be compliant about, the clubs that you have in your bag and a certain amount, and not to go over a number there. The other part of it too, and I'll use the baseball analogy. I played at the end of the steroid era. It is still incredibly difficult to hit a pitch baseball. It's the most difficult thing to do in professional sports. So you can be as strong as you want, but you still got to hit it. I told you, and I stand firm with it, when the competitive advantage changes from the baseball part with the Astro scandal, where they knew what was coming, that changes the landscape.
Ooh.
If an equipment or a club or a collection of clubs gives a golfer a significant competitive advantage, of course, that should be investigated and that should be followed up on. Here's where the drama will continue. Is if Rory doubles down and is more defiant, it's only going to grow. The best thing he can do is say, guys, here were the clubs that I used. You can look at them, you can take them apart, you can put them back together. That's what I used to win. And I'm that damn good, okay, that I still won. I think Scotty does twofold. Number one, it's a little gamesmanship. And okay, hey, I know I'm really good, by the way. I just won the latest
me every
major,
week.
and I'm the best player in the world. Here it is. Everyone get on my level as far as we're all playing with compliant equipment, and may the best man win from there. So I think it's a great move from Scheffler.
Looking ahead, and we talked a little bit about it in hour number one with Matt Humans, just looking ahead briefly now to Oakmont. I don't, will we hear from Rory beforehand? Because I guess if you want to back Rory and the talent at 6-1, nobody's going to talk you off the ledge. I'm not going to play that short number. But if this is now another thing that is now in Rory's head, not saying he's unplayable because of it, but don't you feel like it needs to be addressed and taken care of like Scotty has already done, so that you know that that's not weighing on him? And so clearly it was weighing on Rory last week when he didn't speak to the media for 4 days. And if we're going to stick our head in the sand and said, oh, we don't know why he didn't talk to the media, we absolutely know why. This is why he didn't talk to the media, because he knew this question was going to come. They asked Scotty after he won. So the question was going to come of Rory once the news came out. So my thing is now going forward with Rory from a betting perspective, do we have to put this to bed so we feel like we're confident that his head is right, because we know how mental this game can be?
Yeah, I don't think I'd be on him, period. But I think for the sake of the player and the sanity of the player, you need to get that. You need to get that nipped one way or another. Be done with it and move on.
Let me ask you one other question here, because we test for everything in baseball, right? We know that. As Alvarado just got popped for, 80 games PEDs. Now they're doing this for golf. They're checking the equipment there. Football, we all know about that. It's going to be 4 games here. Guys get popped all the time. Basketball, they get away with everything. There's no testing, Jensen. There's no testing in basketball. Just go run and jump as high as you can. Isn't that amazing that, out of the major sports, it just feels like in hoops, we just let you go ahead and do what you got to do, boys.
Hey, I mean, I'm old enough to remember Amari Stoudemire bathing in the wine, and just all the other things. I mean, LeBron spends as much money as he does, and for good measure at his age. Aaron Gordon, I gave you props for being, playing through the injury. Don't give me this rest. It's the longest postseason in sports. I will never ever sign up for oh no, we need more time in between. No, you don't. The regular season, you have a day off in between games, maybe a couple of days off, and then you play a handful of back-to-backs. Don't give me that crap. That's awful.
We gave you your flowers yesterday, Aaron. We're taking them back today. Sorry. That's just the way of the world. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account that's built just for bettors. Ensures all your gambling transactions are always approved. No usage fees, no minimums. Earn cashback rewards. 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today, edgeboost.bet. Use the promo code BOOK. That's edgeboost.bet. Our best bets are next.
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
We are back, VSiN By The Books. Dave Ross, Jensen Lewis. Going to have JVT, Jonathan Von Tobel, join us in the next segment. But I do want to get to our best bets of the day. Of course, they are brought to us by GBank, the official bank of VSiN. And, yeah, I don't have any futures plays in yet for Oakmont next month. But, Jensen, it'll be here before you know it. And it's like, I was just talking to Kelly Bidwin as he gets ready for a show with Gil Alexander for a numbers game coming up next. And it's like, man, is that really going to affect the way I look at Rory McIlroy? Like with this controversy that's not a guy. Like I'm wondering if this is actually going to be something that I have to factor in now to the handicap next month at Oakmont. So before I make any of these future plays, hopefully we've got this quote-unquote controversy put to bed once and for all. No controversy tonight. Game 1 between the Hurricanes and Panthers. We all know what we're getting here, and that is a rested team, Carolina, against a team that goes 7 games north of the border. And I'm sure they're a little disappointed they didn't wrap it up in 6 in Florida down there in Sunrise. Had to go back north of the border. But then it was an easy victory on Sunday. Here we are 2 days later. Jensen, you think that playing that extra game, that extra flight, that extra night away from home, and now you stay on the road here in Carolina, might affect Florida earlier in their series rather than later, correct?
I do, and I think what's remarkable is that this has been the team, and I've said this now for the last couple of weeks, when you have the pedigree that they do, to really essentially get overlooked overall. Like I mean, find me an article, find me a talking head that's been like, oh yeah, the Hurricanes here, the Hurricanes that. Just taking it from a professional athlete experience, there's no better motivator than getting overlooked. And I think the Hurricanes believe in that locker room that they are as competent and as qualified as any of the teams that are remaining here. And I think they'll take out some of that angst, tonight. Yeah. I do respect the fact that the Panthers have, that continuity, right? They've been playing every other day. They have that rhythm. I just think you get a little extra rest. You come out, and defensively, I think Carolina has an ability to shut down the Panthers' scoring chances or maybe limit them. And so I'll take a potential empty netter. I'm not mad at people, though, if they want to do our old Jonathan Davis recommendation of taking the alternate puck line for the Panthers. And as long as you get a 2-goal a win here by either side, you're in the green. So another angle to look at. But I'm in pocket as of yesterday. Hurricanes on the puck line plus 215.
Had a great convo with Paul Caponigri earlier in the program. He's on the under on this game as well, 5.5. So
I like that too.
Right.
Yeah.
It does feel like might be a little bit closer, tighter early on feeling out process. That does happen early in series. So I can understand that lean to the under as well. For tomorrow in the Western Conference here, Stars going to be hosting the Oilers in game number 1. And again, this is an Oilers team that I've got FOMO that I did not get in on when I wanted to. We talked about it here when they were down 0-2 to the Kings. And now I haven't been able to hop back in because I just feel like the pricing is off here. And look at this here. Dallas is minus $1.24 in game 1, but yet in the series price, it's minus $1.10 either way. That's surprising to me. So it feels like you would be getting some value on the team that has home ice in Dallas, potentially in a 7-game series, when they're a $1.24 favorite in game 1. Do you see it the same way, and how do you analyze game 1?
I do think the Stars, and again, what I've done with the goaltender specific fades here, fading Stuart Skinner in games 1 through 3. Same thing I did with Connor Hellebuck when he was on the road. And again, when they matched up, the Jets and the Stars did, it just felt like Dallas at home had hit another gear. And I do like that to continue yet again on Wednesday night. So plus $1.95, I believe, is what I got the Stars and the puck line at. I believe it is still remaining that price there on DraftKings. So again, if you want Edmonton, the alternate puck line for 1.5 is plus 240. So again, another profitable angle, as Jonathan Davis has always recommended to us, if that's a way you want to go. A game decided by 2 or more will put you in the green there. But I do think Dallas takes care of business, and I do think that Stuart Skinner angle will be something to monitor here in these first couple of games.
Let's get to the WNBA that we have tonight with the Dream and the Fever this evening here. Jensen, I think you're looking for some points to fly here in Indiana, correct?
Locked this one in yesterday. Just felt that you could get a pretty decent amount of scoring, and why not back Caitlin Clark and company at home there. They're double-digit favorite right now at DraftKings. Fever. Actually, it's come down a little bit. They were 10-point favorites yesterday. They're now down to 8-point favorites, but that total is what we're targeting. Had that in pocket for VSiN Pro subscribers yesterday. The over 170.5 is the play. Dave, it's all the way up to 174.
Wow.
So we have already achieved some line movement in pocket there. And again, just both teams' ability to get up and down. I do think we see it, and not mad if they want to go to overtime and pile it on a little bit more.
Obviously, a shorter number is Caitlin Clark to be MVP. Fever at plus 340 is the second betting choice, tied with the Minnesota Lynx, only behind the New York Liberty, who are the favorites at plus 230. Which play would you rather have in pocket? Clark MVP or Fever to win it at plus 340?
I do like the Fever to be able to win it. I know our great friend Jeff Seeley, the cup maker, has been advocating to add Fever finals, the WNBA championship future, to any of these tickets, and particularly we were talking about Scotty and Rory. If you don't like Scotty at plus 350. Just outright to win the U.S. Open, can I interest you in almost north of 19-1? If you parlay Scotty to win the U.S. Open and the Fever to win the WNBA championship. Not a bad ticket in pocket.
Oh, I like, I'm definitely intrigued by that. That feels like a way to go. If you want to get on Scotty, you don't want to play the small number. I like where your head's at there. So again, Dream Fever over 170.5 is now up to 174, not to be confused with Dream Weaver. Let's get to Major League Baseball today, and you've got a couple run line plays. Astros, they're getting it done, and they're doing it without their big bat in the middle of the lineup here. Do they continue this down there in Tampa against the Rays today?
I think they do. So I'm on the run line here for the Astros, plus $1.36. Great hitting conditions down there, too, at George Steinbrenner Field for today, or tonight's game, I should say. Astros took it to the Rays early yesterday. We were able to hold on and get a win in the series opener. I think they do it by multiple runs tonight. What you love about Houston is in the same breath as we've talked about the Hurricanes not getting a lot of national love, no one has talked about the Astros with the departure of Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman. So you look at that matchup tonight, Zach Littell, chance for the lefties to be able to get after him as a right-handed starter. So I do like the Astros. That number actually up to plus $1.54 on DraftKings, but I still like to play. I think the Astros get it done tonight.
Yeah, you know Yordan Alvarez, and yet this lineup, they're doing just enough to get by. They got by last night against the Rays, try to do it again today. How about the A's at home in Sacramento tonight against the Angels? Angels have been hot, but maybe a play against today?
I do think that the Athletics are the way to go, and you and I know that we love our Sacramento overs.
Yeah.
We get a 10 at Circa. It's up to 10.5 at DraftKings. Gunnar Hoagland getting the start for the Athletics. Kyle Hendricks, a soft-tossing righty for the Angels. Let's go ahead and fade old Kyle, and let's jump on this Athletics offense at home. So do like the run line. Got that in pocket, plus 120. It's up to plus 124 at DraftKings. Like the play still, like the offense there tonight.
If you have not gotten the GBank Visa Signature Card, do so today. Most credit cards are going to treat those sportsbook and gaming transactions as cash advances. That's even when you put your own money on the card. GBank's going to treat those gaming transactions as purchases. You're saving up to 3 to 5% on cash advance fees on gaming transactions right then and there. Also with GBank, you're going to earn 1% cashback rewards on all eligible sportsbook and gaming transactions, 2% cashback rewards on all other eligible purchases. Apply now, VSiN.com/GBank. That's VSIN.com/GBank. Let's get to one other question I have for you. When is officially a streak in Major League Baseball? Like, can I get excited about the Reds' 5-game winning streak, which is currently the longest streak in the senior circuit?
Yes. As Lou Brown affectionately told us all, 3 in a row is a winning streak. It has happened before. Overall, if you had me right now as the Reds and the Phillies as the top 2 team streak, well, I take that back. Phillies, Mariners, Angels all have won 4 in a row. Reds have won 5. So, yes, we need them to start climbing. Game over 500. That's your first line of demarcation.
There it is.
Get to 500 and then take off from there.
All right, so it's officially a streak because I got some clap back that they're not the hot. I get it. St. Louis has been hotter over the entire month. But can't we enjoy this? Can we enjoy the 5-game winning streak that the Reds are at? Thank you. We're going to enjoy this one while we have it. Okay, we are going to talk much more NBA here. Jonathan Von Tobel is going to come back with us on the other side here. Again, we've got a Game 1 tonight. We've been talking a lot about the rest in the NHL. What about the rest in the NBA with the T-Wolves and the Thunder? Remember, ironically, it's the T-Wolves coming in as the lower seed with all the rest. It's OKC as the number 1 seed that had to play on Sunday. Will that affect game number 1? We shall discuss with Jonathan Von Tobel on the other side of a very short break. Come on back. It's VSiN by the Books.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
We are back, VSiN By The Books. Dave Ross and Jensen Lewis here on the Tuesday edition. Always love catching up with JVT. Give him a follow on X at MeJVT. Joins us here in the Progressive Guest Line. You can check him out weekdays here in the network with Stormy Bonatoni on Money Moves. That is at noon Eastern. JVT, I said earlier in the program, you guys are like my favorite odd couple right now on the network. Like, I heard you guys kind of going back and forth with this whole Brock Purdy and Niners thing. How are you and Stormy? How's the show when it comes to Niners talk? Because I know, and I can get this way with the Cowboys, does she get defensive about the Niners?
Oh yeah, clearly. I mean, I think there's a clip up there that you can kind of tell how defensive she gets. Look, I think there's a lot of reasons maybe you could point to why I ultimately got the sidekick job with Stormy, but really what it came down to when I had private conversations with Steve Cohen was to keep her ego in check. And so that's why I'm there, is to kind of cut her down every once in a while when she's getting a little too high. Yeah. And I think I do a great job of that with a lot of people, you know?
I think it's working.
Wow. Oh, that's a good one. Speaking of the NFL, JVT, I know you've got a week 1 wager in pocket. Also, great article coming out on VSiN.com today. I'll give you the floor. What you got for us?
Yeah, so it's going to be out after I talk to you guys, Jensen, and it's a really fun exercise that I picked up from our former colleague here, Jeff Fogel, who really taught me how to do this. So it's estimated power ratings and market power ratings, and essentially what it is how the betting market views these NFL teams. So it's a power rating that I'll put up there, and it's essentially how we're rating these teams from an odds makers and betting market perspective. Now, this early for the week 1 lines, there's not that much money in the market, so it's kind of a very scant view of it. By the time we get to the week 1 of the regular season where there's a lot more money, it'll be a little bit more accurate. But it's a good exercise to get our first glimpse of where odds makers are rating some of these teams. And so I highlight a couple of teams, but the one team that I start out with is the Pittsburgh Steelers. There is no question that the betting market, despite the fact that Aaron Rodgers is currently a free agent, believes that when the Steelers take the field week 1, he is going to be the starting quarterback for them. So they're being priced as such. But I would argue, and especially when you look at these ratings, I think it'll stick out, that they are being very much overvalued. Current market power ratings would have them just about 2 points behind the Kansas City Chiefs, which I think is very, very high. And I think this Jets team is being a little undervalued because, again, when you're talking about these power ratings, you factor for home field, you find the difference, and then you pair these teams up, right? We have a line. We got to keep them together on a couplet in terms of the difference. The Jets are being power rated like the Giants, 1 point better than the Cleveland Browns. I just don't think that's the case. I think the Jets are better than that. So all of that led me to taking 3 points this far out with the Jets. It's a small bet. Obviously, injuries can occur. You don't want to go too heavy. But it's a good exercise to compare your ratings to where the market's at and find maybe some spots where the market's a little too high or a little too low. So there's quite a few teams that stick out, and I write about those, and that'll be up on the website a little bit later. Justin
Fields' revenge game in week number 1, JVT. Very quickly, staying in New York, something else you have in your mind today. And Jensen and I talked a little bit about it with Juan Soto and the lack of hustle there in that 2-2 game against the Yankees, primetime on Sunday Night Baseball there. What's your takeaway from it?
So this is going to give me some hot water with a Mets fan and a former ball player, but come on, dude, what are we doing? It's May. Can we chill out a little bit?
No, we can't chill out, JVT. We cannot chill out on that.
Dude, I think it's hilarious. We're freaking out about this. Who knows if he makes it to second, whatever it is. I feel like if he would have not made it and gotten thrown out at second, then we'd all be mad that he didn't really read the ball right. So I just find it funny. Look, Philly radio was probably spending 2 hours on his name escapes me. Philly's reliever that just got suspended for 80 games, right?
Yep.
Alvarado.
I
yeah.
love baseball talk. Yeah. So I love baseball talk in May. It's absolutely hilarious. But I do find it funny. And I did, we were texting earlier, and I said, make sure you tell Dave I've got thoughts on Juan Soto not legging it out. Chubby Juan Soto, by the way, as that Yankees fans will tell you.
Let's get him on a diet here and start running harder.
Yeah. Funny you bring that up, JVT, because the back page of the New York Post Sports says Juan Slow-Mo. I mean, it is just on brand, right, for all the New York sports and talk shows. I am intrigued though from a National League East perspective. As the Phillies win yesterday, they get back into first place. I think it'll be a 3-horse race. Interested in your thoughts, just kind of overall, the baseball landscape to date for you. Anything that particularly has stuck out that you feel is actionable at this point?
Yeah, it's great we mentioned this because Jensen, you're the former ball player, so you can speak to this a little bit more. But I'm very much in the mindset, all these games count, man. From the beginning of the year all the way to the end of the year, these games matter. And so when you look at that division specifically, I'm pretty anti-Atlanta. You can't start the way you did in a National League that is rife with parity. 4 teams in the National League West, 2 teams in your own division, specifically at the top of that thing. Whatever's going to come out of the NL Central, there's also some teams competing for a wild card spot. St. Louis, I think you guys were talking about them earlier, have been relatively competitive as well. I get it, right? Strider's coming back today. Acuna's coming back at the end of the month. But I think that start was too deep of a hole in a National League that looks very, very good. And just pull up the National League wildcard picture, and you tell me which team you feel confident in is going to fall out of that picture and allow the Braves to find a seat at the table. They're still minus 165 to make it to the postseason. Again, I think that too early of a hole that you dug yourself. I don't know if they get out of that, and I would lean toward the Braves not making the postseason, despite the fact that there are reinforcements on the way. And I'd also add this, because we just watched a great 4-game set happen out there in Texas. I did bet last week, and I wrote about this up on the website, the Rangers to win the AL West. One book was off market. I think that there's signs that this lineup can kind of come to life a little bit more. And I don't need to tell you guys, that pitching's incredible.
Yeah.
If DeGrom's going to continue to do what he's been able to do, Molly's completely turning things around, and there's really no sign in his metrics that he's going to slow down. We know what Eovaldi is. That team, got to fix the back end of the bullpen. Lineup's got to wake up. Seager's got to get healthy. But at this point of the year, in a division that looks like it stinks outside of the Mariners, all of a sudden sweeping the Padres over the weekend, I think that's a winnable division for Texas.
0-8 start for the Braves. Somehow they're over 500 already at 24-23. JVT, let's get to the Final Four in the NBA. I know you called it the OKC Invitational. Looking pretty good now. They're going to be over $3 betting favorite in this series against the T-Wolves. Are you more confident in that assessment or less after going 7 with Denver?
Oh, I mean, look, I'd be a fool if I were to say, I'm fine. You know what I mean? That's that series against Denver where you're playing 6.5 guys and 2 of them are injured. That is somewhat worrisome, right? This is now two straight postseason series and just postseasons in general, guys, where we've watched the Thunder shooting just completely disappear. They're shooting right around 32% from beyond the arc. And that's the second straight season. Remember, last year, their shooting disappeared against Dallas, and P.J. Washington turned into Ray Allen incarnate, and all of a sudden, they got booted out of the second round. And it looked like maybe that was going to happen here again with the Denver Nuggets. So I would be a fool, I think, to sit back and say, nope, they're fine. Look, I still think they're going to win this series in a hard-fought one at that. But, I was on with you guys when we were floating around the All-Star break. We talked about this, right? There were all sort of indicators that the Timberwolves were going to be a team that was going to be formidable when we got to the postseason. And here they are for the second straight year themselves in the Western Conference Finals. And there is something to be said about being battle-tested, right? We talk about this in the NBA all the time, about kind of taking your lumps as you go, getting progressively further in the postseason. One of these two teams made it to a conference finals and failed, and that is not the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, Dave, I do think they win. I think the way that Minnesota turns the ball over at a very high rate, especially in half-court possessions, leading to runouts for OKC, will be a very big difference. The Thunder have multiple defensive weapons if they want to throw at the different weapons for Minnesota. I think Julius Randle might be a small difference maker. I think playing 5 guards might mess with what they do with Rudy Gobert. But ultimately, I think it's very hard fought. I think if you want to take 2.5 games, at actually what I think is a really cheap price at minus 160 or so with the Minnesota Timberwolves in the series, I think that's plausible as well. I also took 7.5 with this game here today.
Yeah, I love that. Last one for me, JVT, and we get Pacers Knicks tomorrow as well. That one 4.5 right now in favor of the Knicks, 223 the total. If you believe that Indiana, if you're a Pacer backer, not only to win this series but to win it all, would you look more to like a Halliburton Finals MVP prop, or is this just kind of a rollover of the series markets in your mind? I still think the Knicks win this series, but how do you size up this Eastern Conference final?
Yeah, I would say really quickly, I don't think this is as strong as like OKC, right, Jensen? Where if you like the Thunder, bet Shea to win the Finals MVP, or excuse me, Western Conference Finals MVP. Voters are simpletons. They will not look beyond Shea Gilgeous-Alexander when it comes to that series if they go on to win it. This one, I think it's a little bit more murky because you have Pascal Siakam there. But I'll say this really quickly. Look, I think, and I said this in the article that I put up on the website, I will state plainly, I think the Knicks win this series. I think they win in 7. Having said that, I'm not betting on the Knicks to win this. What I think is actually more fair is betting this at over 5.5 games, at minus 165. I think that's a very cheap price considering where this series is being priced, where these two teams are at on a neutral. They're very tight with one another. Both teams have very strong advantages. I wrote about it in the article. There's a lot of strong indicators that there's some regression coming for the Indiana Pacers from a shooting standpoint all across the board. For the New York Knicks, they're not as deep, so Indiana's bench depth, because they're a top team in terms of bench scoring, should help them extend this series out as well. I don't think this is a short series. I think it's a long series, and I'd rather bank on that as opposed to picking a team in what seems to be a coin flip series.
Great stuff, JVT. Check them out, of course, with Stormy on Money Moves. That's at noon Eastern today and every day here across the network. Hey, and tell her I said that Brock Purdy is no Dak Prescott. So yeah,
you're right. And she's going to have to talk me down because these Angels are red hot, boys. So she's going to have to cut my ego down here a little bit, too.
Oh, my God. Angels talk coming up on Money Moves. Jonathan, we appreciate it as always. Give him a follow on X at MeJVT. All right, J. Lou, we are done for the day, my friend. We'll do it again tomorrow, but don't go anywhere right now. A numbers game coming up next with Gil Alexander and Kelly Bidwin.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.